Dismiss the board class where we've created a class that initializes with a length, creates a new array, fills it with underscores, has an isComplete, so it looks if every element in the board is not that underscore, and then an add character that takes in an array of indices and the character, iterates through those indices and updates the board at those indices to be that character. So let's go ahead and also export this. Module.exports is equal to board, and let's also test this because I don't want to do a big debug at the end of this thing, and say new board at, let's say, 6, and we will log our board, and we should call isComplete console.log board.isComplete. Let's go ahead and add those indices. So let's go board dot add characters, and we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So almost all of the characters. We'll just make them an H. Let's log our board again, just to make sure that it does add them correctly. And then let's just add. Finally, the last, we should also call
line 27.
Line 27?
21,
oh, yeah, thank you. I'll say board.isComplete. So that should also give us false. Board.add character at the key of 0. Let's add something else like a L. And then we'll call board.isComplete again. And we'll make sure we're getting all of our expected results. Node.board, and we see board did initialize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it gave us false for all of them, which was not expected because I thought we would get it back. I thought the last one would be complete, so we have a bug. Let's make sure we're actually adding characters. Interesting. So this is wrong because this should not be indices. This should be I. Right? Because I is representing the character. And now we get what we've expected. Okay, so notice how we wrote a little bit of code and then we checked it immediately, right? Sometimes I have fellows who call me over and they go, I don't know what's wrong with it, and then it turns out it was code that we really wrote a long time ago. So that means we didn't check it. That's a debugging nightmare. Did you have a question?
Yeah, so what did we put in for length?
Well, I just put 6 in for this one, just to see. It's a variable. It builds based off of the length I pass it in, that I pass in.
Oh, we're just checking to see if
We're just checking to see if everything works as expected.
Okay.
And it does, so that's enough for the board. Okay, so now that we got board, let's move on to the next class. So we'll check here, it says human player. We'll need to get move from human player and display the board, okay? So let's go make a human player. I know I need readline for this. I'm gonna say const. Well, we're gonna use readline sync, right? Readline sync. And we know we have a class called human player. Constructor, I'm going to say it takes in a name. And we'll just say this.name, and we'll assign that to name. And then we need to have a get move, which I'm going to return readline.question and say, not question, int. I'll say, please enter a guess, or a character, I'll say. and I'll just say that to lowercase. I think I can do it from here. If not, we'll see in a minute. I'm also gonna, let's see, do we need anything else from this class? I'll display the board, possibly a select secret word that returns the link. So we'll deal with the possiblies later, yeah? Those are like more of like the bonuses. So we'll say module.exports, and this would be human player. And let's just check it real quick. Let Corey equal new human player Corey console.log Corey.get move, and we'll see what happens here. Yep, good. No.human player. Please enter a character. I'll say capital E. Let's make sure it comes back lowercase e. Okay, so that's working. I just have an extra character here. And we can make a little space too, because I hate having that. Okay. And it also said that we should have a display board. I'm going to put this in here so that if I do decide to make a computer player that can guess, it doesn't have to keep printing its board for us. So I'm just going to have a quick display board, and this will take in a board. And I mean, I can do all kinds of things with it. This is essentially the board. This is going to be an instance of the board, right? So the board's access, if I'm inside of the board, is like board. What? I didn't want that. Okay, this dot board, right? So if I really wanted the board on the board, I'd have to do board dot board. But that seems like kind of weird, right? Because I shouldn't really be able to look at the innards of inside of the board. I should be able to only access like public methods. So I need to do a couple things. I'm going to make a string. Let output. It's going to look like this. And I'm going to say for let I equal, again, I can say I.0, but I can say I is less than, I can't do board dot length because there is no length property on the object of board, right? Does that make sense? So I can make that. So I can go, oh, okay, well, if I need a length property, I'll just add one. So I'll just say, I'll make a function called length. And I'll just give this, thank you. Still did it. Perfect. Okay, and then I can just return this .board.length here. Because I don't really want to be able to access all that crap from the other function. So back to here, I'll invoke it this time. I++. And then I'll say output plus equals. So again, I can't like key into the board. Because if we think about what the board is, it's that object, right? So I can't like key into the board at an indice. Because the board has its own little board. That's its array. So I have to figure out a way to get information from the specific indice. So no problem. I'm going to go back into my board and just add that. So I'll create like a get method that takes in an index and just returns this.board at IDX. Okay, so if I do that, then I can iterate through this and I can say board.get I. And then at the very end of this whole thing, I can log console.log our output. Questions on that? Yeah, so get just takes in an index and keys into the board instance. That is the array over here. See, I just don't want to be doing board.board. Yeah. So I'm doing that because join doesn't exist on the board class. So all of those array methods are only for arrays, not for board objects. Right? Don't forget, when we create an instance of a board, it's got the object sign, and then it's got its own board inside, and all those methods. So this is how I'm at. So instead of doing like board.board, board.board, instead of doing all that, I created little things to help me access it inside. And we should test that. So if I test that, I'm going to actually have to require the board here. So I'll just like let board equal new board. I require /board.js. And we can say, oh, this has to be board. Let test equal new board at 6. And then we can say Corey dot display board, and we'll pass in our test. So we're expecting to see some underlined stuff. Freaks out. Console.log output. Weird spot to freak out, right? What's wrong with that? Oh, it's not actually inside of my function. So that makes sense. It's like really hard to find the line spacing looking to your right sometimes. Oh, this is that test thing. And we see my board. Doesn't look so hot to me. So maybe I'll just add a space at the end and try again. Here, I'm going to remove this E thing because we know this works. And so now, okay, that looks better. That looks like a viewable board. Okay, so I'm going to assume all of the rest of those things now work. Well, I don't really need to assume it. I've tested it, right? So I'd say that's pretty much done for human player, if that's what it's asking for. These possibilities, we can get back to those later if we have time. I think we will because we're kind of cruising. Okay, computer player should have a dictionary. All right, so I have the assignment here. I'm going to grab that dictionary. I'm also going to make a new file called touch.words.js. And let me see if I can find the actual assignment. Oh, wait, it's here. Yeah, right, okay. Where are all those words? Here we go. I'm going to copy that, go back up to what I'm interested in. I know there's like specific requirements. I guess we can hit those too, but I'm less concerned about those. Words. I'm going to go ahead and paste this. So module dot exports equal words. And then inside of our computer player, we can go ahead and require that. So I'm going to say const all. Oh, I did something wrong. I called it words here. Should have been called all the words, because that's what that array is called. And then here we'll say, actually it has to be in an object. Although I think Isaiah got it to work without doing that, so that's pretty cool. Require /words.js. Okay, cool. So now we've got all of our dictionary. And so when you do module.exports, it expects you to export an object. And so, but we don't have an object, we have this array, right? Although I guess you can get it to work supposedly, but usually this is how you have to do other variables that you want to export. And so you export it as an object. And then this little line is something called object destructuring, because when we require this, this becomes that object that we exported, and doing this assigns this variable, because they have the same key.
So the question is not exporting the whole file, it's just that specific
Yep.
file.
Okay,
Can you just go back to Word for a second and show how to
just like that.
No, I mean,
That's just all right. Just paste it in there. Yeah. Okay, and then we're in our computer player, so let's go ahead and create this class. Computer player. Constructor. Does this need a name? Sure, why not? I'll make it a default name of Robo Bobo. And this needs a dictionary. And I'll assign that equal to all the words. Okay. What else does it say we need? So should have a dictionary, check. Should have a secret word and return its length. Okay, so we need to have a secret word here. So, okay, I'm just going to have a, choose secret word. Secret word. And all this will do is say this dot secret word. So I'm going to assign a variable to here. And I'll say math.floor of, let's break this down into just a couple lines, yeah? So I'll say, like IDX is equal to math.floor, math.random times our this dot dictionary dot length. Right, so that should give us an indice. And then our secret word will be our dictionary at that indice. And then I'm going to just return the length, which is a little weird, but I don't want the computer to have to ever tell the game or the board what the actual word is. So I'm going to say return this dot secret word. Yikes, why am I hitting the wrong thing? My hands are too small. I've got like super small hands for my size. I have really big palms, but like small fingers. I think I'm thinking about taking up rock climbing. Anyway, choose secret word. All right, that seems pretty good for that. Should have a reveal. All right, no problem. So eventually the computer should tell us what the secret word is. So I'm going to add a reveal. Reveal doesn't need to do anything too fancy, right? It just needs to return this dot secret word. And it says should give the positions of a guest characters. So it's going to take in a. So it's going to say, let's say check yes, and it will take in a character. And I have to keep track of the indices of the positions. So I'm going to say let indices be an empty array, and I will iterate through my characters. So my secret word. So I'll say for let character of. I shouldn't say character. I'll say letter of this dot secret word, and I'll say hey if our letter is equal to character. Yeah, I like that. Marvin's predicting what I'm writing ahead of time. I like that. Right? That's really good. That's like this is really more of like a demonstration, so the more active and way for you to participate, the better, right? So if you're mumbling under your breath what you think I'm about to write, that's really good practice. Right? And it doesn't bother me. I like it. I'm into it. Marvin was helping me. I spaced out for a second. So if that's true, well, we can't do letter of I, right? That was kind of silly. Because that's the actual character. So I have to just change this a little. So I'm going to say I in this dot. Oh, but that's all right. Regular for loop. Sorry. Let I equals 0, while I is less than this dot secret word dot length I plus plus. If this dot secret word at I is equal to character, because we want to push I, right? Indices dot push I. And then at the very end of this, we can return our indices. Right? Now, we've done a lot of, we haven't tested a lot yet, but we'll get to it soon, I guess. Possibly have a get move. Okay, so that's like the bonus. So if we're not doing bonus, this is like all we need. So let's go ahead and test. I also know eventually I'll have to export this, so I'm just going to do that now. Module.exports, computer player, and let's check. So let robo equal new computer player, and we have to remember the functions. So we have to do robo dot, what's it called? Is it called secret word?
Yes.
Choose secret word. Choose secret word. We should console log to make sure this gives us back the length that we're expecting. We also should console log robo. Robo. Other methods we should check is reveal. Robo.reveal. Anything else we checked? Check yes. Okay, so for check yes, it's kind of weird because we don't know if we're going to be right. That's okay. We'll just check a couple of guesses. Log robo dot check yes. There's got to be an A in one of them, right? Assuming this is a regular English word. That's enough. Right? One of those is going to give me back some kind of array. So now let's run it. Node at computer player. And seems to be working. And it worked for the E. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that this is going to work for all of them. And we got our secret word of debit. That was from our reveal. And this should have given us the length, which it did, which was dead. So, okay, everything seems to be working. Questions on this? Yeah, Shia?
And where is the board determining the length of the secret word?
The board's not. The length of the secret word determines the board's length.
Right, sorry.
That hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, so if we're just doing the bare minimum, we could say we're probably about 50, 60, 70% finished with the game, right? So that's the good news. We got one more class to write, and that's game class. Hey now, should have a guesser and a referee. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and enter our game. I know I'm going to need all those other files, So I'm going to go ahead and do const. Well, I only need them if I'm going to make it in this file. I definitely need board. Board is equal to require, and we can say /board.js. And for now, I'll just go ahead and require the other ones as well. Say human player. We lost someone. Oh, that hurts. Okay, computer play. No, it's okay. If you feel like you got past where you were stuck or something, that's fine. I'm not at all offended. But it's also fun to not do this alone. Okay, so gotta make a class. Class, game, instructor. So it takes in a ref and a guesser. I'm gonna just call this players. I'm gonna think of this as an object. And I'm gonna say this dot ref is equal to players at the key of let's see, Ruby referee. I'll just say ref. I don't care. And I'll say this dot guesser is equal to my players at the key of guesser. Right? Does that make sense? This is just going to be an object with those keys pointing to a value. Okay. Don't have to do it this way, right? This is just one option. Okay. Should have guesses remaining. All right. How many guesses does the game start with? Okay. Guesses remaining. Should start at 6. I'll take your word for it. Okay. Whatever, right? It doesn't matter. None of that matters, right? It's just what happens as the game gets played. Should have a play function. All right, we'll do that in a minute. That validity and is game over. Okay. So play looks like this. We'll have a valid guess. I assume that takes in a character, and we'll have a is game over. Okay, so is game over. Oh, you know what? Our board, it needs a board too, for sure. This dot board is equal to new board. Oh, well, we'll have to do that in a minute, right? We don't have a board yet. The player has to guess its length. Right, let's go ahead and do that. So under play, the first thing that happens is, okay, let board length, and this should equal this dot ref dot choose secret word is what we call it, right? Do we remember? We don't remember. Well, we can check. Choose secret word. Good. Yeah, my memory's not very good at this. I'm also writing it really kind of fast, so it's kind of hard for me to remember everything. Okay, so that's our board length. Then we need to create a board. Let this dot board equal to new board board length. Okay, so now we have a board. Yes. Thank you, Jay. Good catch, right? We don't need to declare things that are on the instance of this. That's my mistake. 10 points to Gryffindor. Okay. Oh, Slytherin? Sick. Sus. No? No Parseltongue? Okay. Okay, so he doesn't speak Parseltongue. Okay, so what we have is the game over, right? We have that for the board. Let's remember what it's called. I think it's called Is Game Over or Is Complete. Great, brilliant names. So is complete. So for our game over, we would say this dot board dot is complete. So is this true? Or this dot guesses remaining equal to 0. Right, so if either one of these is true, the game is over. I'm emphatic. Thank you. Nice catch. And this should be a return, yeah? Valid guess? How can we determine if the guess is valid? If it's what? I can't hear you. If it's within the length of the word, well, it's just valid if it's a character in the alphabet. So, how do we do that? I could say like, I guess I could say like let alphabet, just off the top of my head. Like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. See, right? I could do something like that. And then I can say return character.length is equal to 1. And alf.includes character. I think that could work. Huh? Right, we're just making sure that it's included in our alphabet and that the length is only equal to 1. If it's those two things, it's essentially a valid guess. I mean, I guess we could protect, like, do we have to protect for repeat guesses?
I tried creating one for each valid guess to then push into an array of guesses and then say that it doesn't, that it's not inclusive.
Yeah.
Like after each valid guess, it then pushes that guess into it.
Okay. Yeah, so we could keep track of guesses so far, right? So we could say like this dot guess letters. And we can make this, well, we haven't learned this yet, but I'm just going to make it a new set. We could make it an array and just do includes. Set just means that we can see if it has it or doesn't have it. It's kind of like an object, but with just keys, no values. So if I do that, I just have to add, if it's a valid guess, and this dot guess dot has character. So we also want it so that it does not have the character. Yeah? Okay.
Wouldn't it be includes?
This is for guess.
Oh.
Because I'm using a set. If I made this array, you can use includes.
Okay.
That would be totally fine. Okay. Can I what?
Wrap your text so that it doesn't.
Sure. Good. I'm checking to make sure it doesn't have that character. Right, this just so that like this line I could just have easily made it an array and say dot includes as well. I just didn't want to iterate through it. I wanted to do an immediate lookup. Yeah.
Could we implement the guesses remaining like decrement inside of play?
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Okay. Right, the game's not over yet. Almost, but not quite. So then, what do we want to do? So our play. So the board is created. So then we would say while this dot is game over, but like it's while it's not game over, right? We will say let guess equal this dot guesser dot what's get move. Thank you. So I'm actually going to do a quick little thing. I'm going to say let guess up here, and I'll say while this dot is valid. What do we call it? This should be is valid, yes. So I'm going to make it so that it's going to keep looping while it's not a valid guess. So okay, so let this,
You didn't finish is valid.
hang on, I'm still cleaning it. Okay, what?
You didn't finish is valid, yes.
Thank you. Okay. Is valid guess. Okay, so while the is that valid guess, we'll pass in guess. So while it's not a valid guess, we'll go get the move. If I write it like this, I won't be able to make it say, I won't be able to get it to complain. I can kind of. I could throw in a quick if again. It's like a little bit of redundant, but I could say like if this dot is valid guess. Yes. I could give some feedback. Like I could just give like a little bit of feedback. It's not bad. I'll be like, that won't take too long for that to check. Otherwise, we'll eventually get our valid guess. So at this point, we can assume that guess is valid. And so if it's valid, we should give it to the referee. So we'll say let positions. Oh, we should probably print stuff at some point. But okay, let positions equal this dot referee dot. What did our referee know how to do? Check guess, thank you. Check guess, and we'll pass in guess. All right, so this gives us back some kind of array. And so then we can go ahead and say this dot board dot, and what do we call it? Update. Add character. So we can just go here, dot add character, positions, and guess. Also, at the very top of this while loop, I should probably print it out right now. So I'm going to say this dot guesser dot display board, and I'm going to pass in our board so that they have something to see. Is there anything else that we need? So I guess at this point, the game will be over, and so. Oh, we should. Thank you. So. Okay, so we can do that check here, right? So we can say like, hey, if positions dot length is equal to 0. We'll say this dot guesses remaining minus minus. So if they didn't get any positive hits on their guess, we subtract the position. And then otherwise, at this point when the guess is valid, we should also add this to our set. So we'll say this dot guessed letters dot add guess. And we should probably print our guess letters at some point too. So maybe we can print that just like at the top. So we'll say like log letters guessed so far, and on the next line, we'll just this dot guess letters. That will look good enough for the purposes of right now. And then at the very end of the game, we will know if they won or lost, right? So so this is after the game's ended, so we'll say like, hey, if this dot guesses remaining greater than 0, console.log this dot guesser dot name wins. Else the ref wins. All right, so I'm sure there's some bugs because that was a lot of code to write without actually testing it. Yep. Should we just see if it runs first? We should probably print out the board at some point too, like the hangman board. Should we do that? So I think I have something for that. Let me see if I find something. I have yes. Okay, so I have this little object. Here, I'm gonna make a new file really quick and demonstrate. It's something I found before on the internet. So I'm just gonna say touch hangman picks. And so I've got this array of elements that are template literals of somebody hanging. And then I can just export this the same way we exported our words. And inside a game, I'm going to go ahead and import that. Oops. Const hangman picks equal to require. And I think I did this all lowercase. Oops. Okay, there. Okay. And so, just the very, very last thing we do is right before we display our board or our letters guessed, we can also console.log our hangman picks at the key of this dot guesses remaining. Okay, so yeah. Oh.
Sorry, you have to invoke line 19, this dot guess letters.
This dot guess letter. No, I'm just calling to print this set. All right, so let's give this a shot and just kind of see how far off we are. Let's say let human is equal to new human player Corey. Let robo is a new computer player. Let game is equal to new game. And this is going to be an object with ref pointing to robo and guesser pointing to human. And then we can just say game.play. Okay, here we go. Let's hope this works. Okay, undefined because why? That is supposed to be our picture of our hangman thing. And it also has an error. Cannot read property length of undefined because we're not passing in a character. That's because of this. Interesting. That's kind of fun. That's from our play where we say while this dot gets val guess because this is undefined right now. I don't know. I guess I'll just make it as like a 0, like a string of a 0. Like that's just never gonna trip it. I don't know. That's pretty hacky. I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but no, it's a string. I want it to be false because they shouldn't have a guess yet. Okay, please enter a character. Wow, that's quite the word. A. So this is says set. So there's probably a better way to print the set, right? It's also not printing our hangman picture. That's okay. Let me get Z because I know it's going to be wrong. Let's see if that updates anything. No. E. Antelope. How are you spelling antelope? N. R. I don't know. Whoa. We got a Wheel of Fortune here. I love it. T. Corey wins. Okay, so for the most part, it's working, right? It's winning. It's not drawing our hangman, so that's upsetting me. And it also says set, so that's upsetting me as well. So let's just change that. This dot guess letters. I'm just gonna say like guess so far. I'm wondering if that will work. Let's call the spread operator. Let's see something really quick. Might just freak out. Yeah. Let's go look in the sets. Or screw it. We can just make this even easier, right? We can just do that array. We'll just do stuff we already learned. So that just means we have to change a couple things, right? We have to change our is valid guess, where we say and this dot guess letter dot includes, and where do we add it inside of play? Push. Okay, so and then we can just do this differently. So instead of the print, we'll say dot join, like something like that. Okay. guess letter so far. Okay, so we have A, E. Okay, so that's looking a lot better. Is it an I? Okay, let's do E again, see if it's gonna like invalid guess. Great, so that's working. M, N, Z, X. Trying to lose. Okay, so undefined win. Okay, interesting. So it's not getting a name property off of a ref, and we're not getting the pictures. Those are the two things we have left. So let's figure out why the ref's not having a name property. Because we forgot to do it, right? This.name is equal to name. I'm going to assume that's fixed. I don't really think I need to retest that. And then the hangman picks, why is this not coming through? Hangman picks.
Is it because you spelled hangman with a capital N in commas?
Possibly. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go over to our game here. They're the same, yeah. Computer's like frozen. Okay, so is it really not going to work for us, eh?
After required, it's not the same.
After required, but that's the same as this. All right, let's see. Ah, I know what it is. I have to do it inside of that object. Okay, my mistake. Apologize for that. Okay, so now we've got a game. No, E. All right. Okay, so I think it's working, right? It's safe to say this is the minimum viable product. Should we go further? Okay, raise your hand if you want to go a little further. Raise your hand. Don't raise your hand if you don't want to go further. All right, so not very many people want to go further. So for those of you who want to go further, I'll just like continue somewhere in a different room, okay? All right, great.
This is gonna be.
Yeah.